Okay, I will call to order the special town meeting, Town of Southbury, June 6, 2024, to order at 7 p.m. This time I would ask for nominations from the floor for a moderator.
I nominate Dan Colton.
Do I have a second? Second. Do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? Hearing none, we will have the moderator ask for the warning of the meeting to be read by the town clerk. Wait a minute, town clerk has to? Do we have town clerk? Or who? Who reads this? Come on up and push the button.
Okay. Notice is hereby given to the electors of the town of Southbury and those qualified to vote at a town meeting that a special town meeting will be held on Thursday, June 6, 2024 at 7 p.m. in room 205 of the Southbury Town Hall to consider and act upon a resolution to allocate $600,000 from the unassigned fund balance to the River Road Construction Fund. Jeffrey A. Manville, First Selectman, Justin Betty, Jason Bucksbaum, Selectman, Gregory Coons, Selectman, Timothy O'Neill, Selectman, Holly Sullivan, Selectman, dated Southbury, Connecticut, this 29th day of May, 2024.
Can the First Selectman please read the resolution?
Dated June 6, 2024, resolved that upon the recommendation of the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance, this town meeting hereby approves the allocation of $600,000 from the unassigned fund balance to the River Road Construction Fund.
Is there a second?
Second.
Would anyone from the public like to speak out for or against the motion? If you come up, please state your name and your address. Are there any other comments from the floor? Seeing none, I will ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? That carries. Can I ask for a motion to adjourn? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned.
Thank you. Next, I will call to order the Southbury Board of Selectmen regular meeting, June 6, 2024, in room 205. We'll call it to order at 7:03. If we could have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And unfortunately, I am going to take the opportunity to call for a moment of silence for Trooper First Class Pelletier, who died in the line of duty. If we could have a moment of silence. Thank you. Next up is a presentation, Architect Ali.
Jeff, before we get into that, can I just make a motion to add to new business the creation of a personnel search committee under the Freedom of Information Act for purposes of hiring a police chief?
Under new business? Under new business. Motion's been made to add.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Greg. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And it's,
I'd also like to make a motion.
wait a minute, let me finish up. Opposed? It's unanimous, it's passed. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to move.
Could you, sorry, Justin, I'll do, thank you.
Jeff, if I could make a motion to move the job descriptions from the consent agenda to new business. We are creating, I think, 2 or 3 new positions tonight. We should probably let everybody know why.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Any discussion on moving the job description to new business out of the consent agenda? Signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous, and that carries. We all set? Perfect. Next up, let me turn this around. Your presentation up, you want to come up? That mic will pick you up very well. So you should be all set. This is Naugatuck Valley Active Transportation Plan. If you could, for the record, let us have your name, and we will listen to the presentation.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tayo Olaleye, Tayo, Tayo Olaleye, Olaleye. I'm a transportation planner at the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments. As you know, the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments provides a regional framework in which municipalities discuss common issues like transportation, community development, brownfields, and environmental planning. At MVCOG, we believe that mobility and access are rights. Everybody should have opportunities to mobility and access, irrespective of your gender or socioeconomic status, whether you drive or you don't drive, if you have ability or disability. And we do try as much as possible to advance these rights. Presently, we're preparing an active transportation plan. Well, active transportation deals with, or it involves, walking, alternatives to actually driving or taking the train, walking or biking or rolling. We're designing or preparing an active transportation plan for the Naugatuck Valley region, which encompasses the 19 municipalities in the MVCOG. By compiling best practices that work everywhere, we are trying to advance the cause of active transportation so that people who don't have a car, people who want to walk, open up neighborhoods, want to walk from your house to downtown, go shopping, recreation, exercise, and they can get there in the safest way possible. The transportation plan is centered around the Naugatuck Greenway, which we know runs from Torrington down to Shelton. That will be the spine of the active transportation plan. But the plan is to also have connecting spokes from various municipalities that can link from all our other communities to that central spine. And as a result we are going around to our municipalities to get input. The plan is only as good as the input we get from the people, because we are planning for the people. So we are here to solicit your help, to encourage you to give us feedback. We have prepared a survey. It has a QR code here. It is also on our website. If you go to the MVCOG website to active transportation, you can take the survey. We want to get ideas on what do people who reside here, where do they want to walk from? Where do they want to walk to? Where would they like to see projects and developments that will encourage biking or walking, as the case may be? So we're desirous of your cooperation, we're desirous of your input, both for elective officials, for those that reside here, and those who maybe come to work here. And we believe that together we will have a robust plan that will capture the dreams and aspirations of the residents of our region. I need to state that there is funding out there, almost like never before, and we want to position our municipalities to be in good stand. Once we have a plan in place of what projects will be good for this community, then we can go out there and say, we qualify for this, we want to ask for this, and get these projects into design and construction in the next few years. Thank you very much. With your kind permission, I will take questions, and comments. Thank you for listening.
Does the board have any questions of Kyle?
No questions from me, but thank you very much for presenting. Really appreciate the information. Thank you.
Question. For towns of a similar makeup like Southbury, how are you finding people are getting from residences that are maybe hard to walk from to a centralized location where a bus might pick them up? Like, what has been your experience in other towns like this that are spread out? Maybe there aren't a ton of sidewalks. Like, how is it that folks are getting from their residences that might be a mile or two, 2 miles, 3 miles away, especially in winter? How are they getting to, like, bus depot locations or bus pickup locations?
That is the challenge that we have, and that is what we're trying to solve, because most of the municipalities are old. You know, they're old and they're on these infrastructure in place. And I'll give you an example. Let's talk about ADA compliance. That is something that is just new, and not new, but relative to the ages of our towns. And a lot of places, there are no sidewalks. People who use wheelchairs can't take a crosswalk, cross the road. So these are the challenges that we're facing. These are the things we're trying to overcome. We are looking at the bigger picture, that not only should there be a path or a trail or a means from walking from one point to another, but at the same time, where the trail starts or where the bike path starts, we're trying to see how over the next few years you can take a bus. There'll be a bus stop around there. So for example, you could take a bus to where the trail starts, come with your bicycle, take the bicycle, link up to the Greenway, and bike down to Naugatuck, for example. So these are things that we are currently working on.
Understood. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
We were working with Elliot Wareham
Yes, ma'am.
initially, and I understand that he's no longer there.
Yes, ma'am.
Was he able to pass along our trail plan to you before he left?
I will need to confirm. He didn't hand over to me. You understand? But I will confirm. He got a summer fellowship in New York, and it seemed promising for him.
So we do, and if you can email me.
Yes, sir.
At my office, I will forward the maps to you. We have, I think bear with me, we have a connectivity plan that we formulated throughout the town. I think there's, Dan, 28 segments. This started with trying to connect a concentrated, an area where there's a concentration of people in condos and, which is Heritage Village, Traditions, Cedar, Crest. There's a number of them. And trying to get grants, we didn't get the first grant.
Okay.
But we're trying to make that connectivity
Yes, sir.
down to the commercial area of where Heritage Village is. And if we get the map to you, you'll see how that interconnects with pretty much Main Street, and it's quite an extensive number of, and trying to get funding. So
Okay.
I will get that to you.
Yes, sir.
And I think that should probably be in the master plan.
Okay. Yes.
And I realize, when we say these things, people think that tomorrow morning or next year, or next 2 years, there's gonna be this. This is a very long-range plan that could take how many years?
10, 15,
20?
20.
Yeah, depending on funding and
Funding,
what
yes.
it takes
Yes, sir.
and how much support it gets.
Yes, sir.
But I will just want to say that we're kind of an outlying town of the Naugatuck Valley.
Yes, sir.
And I hope that we are remembered at COG, that we are participants,
We don't forget you, sir.
because I know you don't know. But we are very far outlying town, and somewhat different geographically than the COG I mean, and we understand that the Naugatuck Valley and that whole down through and brownfields and everything that's down there needs addressing. Waterbury, you know, as Waterbury, we want to see Waterbury get better. But we do have a lot of people, elderly in Heritage Village and the Traditions community. And there's a plan in place, and I can get that to you.
Okay, sir.
Connect with me. I thought, because I know COG had it.
If you don't mind.
Here, we'll save money.
Okay, sir.
Teo, I do have a question. So you mentioned funding.
Yes, sir.
Is that state or federal, or where are you seeing it coming from?
A combination of all, but there's more money on the federal side.
Okay.
That's what we're looking at. So depending on what, what plans, what input we have, then we look at what considerations, which ones our towns will qualify for, and when those rounds are out. So,
And do you have specific grant writers that do that? Grant writers to apply for these funds?
yes, most of our applications on the transportation side are written by Assistant Director Mark Nielsen. You know Mark?
Okay.
Yes, so he does most of our grant applications.
Yeah, and we have, I think and in that plan we have, there's different pieces will fit different grants.
Yes, sir.
There'll be trails grants that are strictly walking trails, and there'll be
Recreation trails.
that grant we're looking for on Heritage, in Heritage Village is more bicycles and
Okay.
things of this nature to get from Traditions and that area over. So there'll be a lot of it's different criteria,
Yes, sir.
and the grant has to be written to meet that criteria.
That criteria. So that's why until we see what is out there, then we can now, if we need to break it down into piecemeal and say, this fits this, so that eventually it'll fit in the whole. But we try to get funding from various sources.
And we used SLR for that first grant because they had written these grants before, so they knew what to write and get it in efficiently. So they wrote it, and hopefully we're resubmitting, which is understandable.
Yes, sir.
First round, we didn't.
We didn't get.
Hopefully the second round. And then hopefully there'll be more money because that's a substantial lift on that road. But
Yes.
we also are looking at Poverty Road with a new bridge. So-
Poverty Road?
Yes, Poverty Road, we have some grants for sidewalks and extension of our streetscapes
Okay.
project. So the lighting matches, working with planning to make sure it's similar, which would give us over to the Pomperaug River and into Heritage Village.
Okay, sir.
There's some non-connecting sidewalks we want to get connected and get that walkable for everybody.
Okay.
And then of course, we've got, my dream is we even have, going up Depot Hill, we can get onto the Larkin Trail.
Okay.
And I've worked with DEP, we're working with DEP, and they'll come later, working with DEP and the state to study a crossing to make it safe, but also asking.
Larkin Trail?
The Larkin Trail on 67, which you've been,
I worked on it.
worked on that, so we're in the,
I worked on it.
yeah, there's gonna be a report of the right way to do
There was
it.
a report, there was a complaint about it, and
Yeah,
yes.
and we wanna do it right, no, we don't wanna piecemeal it, we wanna make sure it's,
It's done properly,
Properly.
understood.
and then
it's a
I've
state road.
also asked if we could possibly get where IBM entrance and traffic light on Kettletown Road, that's the beginning of Larkin Trail, and one of the problems is parking horses for horse trails.
Okay.
And that if we can work with the state to at least get into that property with some basic area that way people can get into there and to get that Larkin Trail. Because right now you can't park, it's only room for like one car. It's or barely one car. But we'd have to get over into it, and there's a lot can be done, and make that connection to Larkin Trail, and that'll bring it all the way into, I believe, into Naugatuck, right? I've never walked the whole thing. But we appreciate you guys. Is there any other questions?
Well, I don't, yeah, I think there's some other areas in town that we're looking at also. The old Southbury Training School area is a great area for affordable housing, so when that topic does come up, I'm sure that we'd want to tie some walkable trails into that area of town.
Okay, sir.
The good thing is, if you look at that map, that was, part of it was making that connection, Route 172, on the property we bought that connects to the trail that goes up towards Traditions. But that also brings you from the training school, you may have to go up to 172 a little bit, but that will connect into that trail to go down to Heritage Village. Have you seen the map, Tim?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
okay,
Going
So-
through Heritage Village, up Wheeler Road?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this fits in, at least we have the map and we have a beginning.
Yes, thank you very much.
Jason, you had,
No, I was just going to thank you for being here and for your efforts, and
Thank
I
you,
look
sir.
forward to taking the survey. Can you email us a link
Yes,
to the
I'll
survey?
email
so
the
we all
link. I think I have a soft copy of this flyer. I could also send it to everyone.
why don't you send it to me
Okay,
and Betsy, and we'll forward it out to the board,
will do, sir.
and the QR code is.
Yes, sir.
And I'll have
I'll send the link.
We'll
Yep.
get that out.
I will, sir.
You're welcoming public input, right?
Excuse me?
Public input?
Yes,
On the-
yes.
Okay,
For
yeah.
those who live here, for those who work here,
yeah, no, that's good, because.
yes, it's public, we want public input, not only elected officials,
Yeah,
public input.
there might be a stone unturned someplace that we have to turn over.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate
Ladies and
that.
gentlemen, have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much. Next up is public comment. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on. Announcements and correspondence you have in your packet. Next up is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a second? Second. Greg, thank you. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And it carries. Next is transfers. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution for the transfers?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Tim. And a second. Any discussion on the motion? Dan is here if you have any questions about it. It's getting towards the end of the fiscal year, and we're truing up accounts however they may work, but that's what we're doing. Hearing no, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And that's unanimous, I believe. We have minutes, May 2nd, 2024, and May 8th, 2024. If it's okay, can we have a motion to approve both?
I'll make a motion to approve both.
Thank you. Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it carries. Charter Revision Commission. Why do I have bids here? That says hold, okay. Bear with me. A folder that wasn't here. Next up, we have unfinished business, the Charter Revision Group. I don't know if you want to do anything here tonight. There is a list of people who have expressed interest in being on the Charter Revision. So I guess the one thing we have to do is decide how many people to put on the Charter Revision. We don't necessarily have to appoint the people today, but there are some rules about that. And I am hearing that the recommendation should be 9. I don't, any thoughts on that, Jason? You've been on Charter Revision.
How many were on the last one?
I'm sorry?
How many were on the last charter revision?
9.
9?
Nine.
Historic, I mean, the last couple have been 9.
Is there an argument to increase or decrease that number?
I wouldn't increase, because it just gets a little unwieldy with more people, but
Is there an argument to decrease that number?
unless you have one.
I don't, no. It's, I don't know why we're, if that's what it was.
How many people have put in?
There are 17.
Wow.
Jason, what was your experience around having 9, their ability to schedule, meet, like, it's sometimes hard, it's hard to get all the folks together, especially if they're volunteers and on other committees and things like that. What was your experience with 9 in the past? Did it seem to work pretty well? Were meetings consistent? Did they stay on track?
So the one that I served on, that was a number of years ago, it seemed to work fine. I mean, you sort of met in the beginning and tried to figure out everyone's schedules and what day works, and then, try and have a consistent schedule. The worst thing is when you start having ad hoc meetings.
Yep.
But, everyone could get on their calendar, whether you're meeting once a month, twice a month, whatever it is, and you know when you're meeting, and, people can calendar ahead. Obviously, people miss meetings, I mean, it happens. But, I personally think 9's a good number. It's an odd number, which is good, which, I
Tiebreaker.
think that's helpful. And you could have a good mix of party representation, and you can have a couple of, like, public officials, and you could have a mix of people.
And what's the time frame we're working in? What's the deadline for this?
I'm gonna make sure Jason's here listening. I believe, what I have, the time period is every 5 years. Action to revise the charter, revision adopted by 2/3 vote of the entire membership of the Board of Selectmen. After resolution has been so adopted by the appointing authority shall not adopt any resolution initiating such action, and the clerk shall not accept any petition for the initiation of such action. Within 30 days after the vote, must appoint a resolution, a commission. So we would have 30 days to appoint, is that what we're looking at after we?
Once we take an action saying we're gonna have a charter, we're gonna start a charter revision process, we have 30 days to populate the commission. I think you were at, and then the time frame for the commission. I think what we discussed was going to ballot next November, so November 2025. And then you go backwards from there. My recollection is the ballot questions need to be in sometime in September or something like that. So I think the Charter Revision Commission, it's sometime in the June, July timeframe where they have to send us, the Board of Selectmen, a draft report. And then there's a little back and forth between the Charter Revision Commission and the board. They send it to us, we can send back comments back to them, then they come back to us, and then ultimately, it's up to the Board of Selectmen what to accept, what to reject, and what to send to ballot. So it'll be sometime next summer, and the town clerk will put together a calendar that we have to tell the Charter Revision Commission that they have to get a draft report to us by.
Why do I feel like I remember reading an email saying that we were behind schedule on this? When was the last charter revision approval?
That was Mike Carrington. We're not behind schedule.
No? When was the last approved charter revision?
Went to ballot in 2019.
Okay.
So we're starting the process within 5 years of that.
So I don't know what we need to do tonight, or if we need to do anything. Should we pass a resolution that the Charter Commission shall consist of 9 members?
Comfortable with that?
I'm ready to support that.
I would support that myself.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Made and seconded. The resolution is to create a charter commission with a total maximum of nine, a number of nine members.
I'm just going to raise one scheduling question, because we have to be ready to populate the commission. And 30 days from now is the 4th of July, 4th of July weekend. So that may just create a bit of a scheduling issue unless we're ready to do it by our June 20th meeting.
Why don't we
You
do-
might
why
want to
don't we-
wait till June 20th.
Why don't we do June 20th to make?
And then in the meantime, I think we need to come up with a process of how we're going to whittle these names down. Do you remember what we did last, I think a subgroup of us like looked at letters or something. I'm trying to recall exactly how we.
So this, on a procedural point, why don't we have, who made the motion?
Justin?
You want to withdraw your motion?
Sure, I'll withdraw my motion.
And I think we're good there. We'll put it on the next Board of Selectmen's meeting to do this, to create, vote to create it. And from there, by that time, then we will have time to, if we're ready at that point, or to select. We will get, I think what we'll do is probably a week before, I'll get the names out. And that way, people have a chance to look at the resumes, get it out to you a week or two ahead, and then we can look to do it.
Sounds good.
All right. New business under the banner policy. I've sent this out to legal. My understanding, what this came from is, we have a banner policy on going banners across the road. And our trees had deteriorated. We can't put it across the road on the cables on the trees. So currently, we're letting the ones who did it across the road, we allow the banner and they hang it on the fence. I've been approached by some other groups, and I feel that we should have the same policy, though we don't have, I think it's good to keep that, a banner across the road in place, should we ever decide to come up with structures to properly do that. But we also should have, continue the same policy on hanging the banners, they hang it on the fence across there. And we did this to, it's a great community, we have a lot of well-meaning people, and we could have banners all the day and all the night. And we also know that we need to be careful about who we allow to put up banners, because then we run into people who say, you shall let me put my banner up too, so we have to be careful. So that's the resolution. I don't know, I would prefer to get this back from Tom Kalin, an understanding about, I guess, the banners. There's been something that has happened in the legal field.
There was since we did this banner policy, there's been a Supreme Court decision that sort of alters some things. It mostly, I think we just want, like, I think we need to add some words to it, that's all.
Okay.
And we'd want our legal counsel to weigh in on that and confirm.
So if that's okay with you, I would like to table this until the next meeting. We get that back. There's no rush, we just don't do it.
Motion to postpone it to the next meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Thank you. First Selectmen's report.
Don't
Couple
forget the
other
new
things.
hires.
New hires.
Personnel Search Committee first.
Yes, that's right.
I've been getting excited, and I've already had dinner, so.
Couple.
So we're, personnel.
Lengthened the meeting, as we say.
Yeah, well, personnel, there's a resolution. We just got it in, we didn't get time to get out, and so it's added to the agenda. Resolved that the Southbury Board of Selectmen, upon completion of the initial review and interviews conducted by the Police Chief Screening Committee, name itself the Personnel Search Committee for the finalist candidates for the Chief of Police position for the town of Southbury. Do I have a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this?
So I'll just state, my understanding is the interview committee has completed their interviews and they're ready to make recommendations to us to do final interviews. And one of the things I think is very important in this process is that we protect the privacy and confidentiality of all the people who have applied
Sure.
and the people that we're going to be meeting with. So under the Freedom of Information Act, there's something called the Personnel Search Committee, which takes you outside of the meeting requirements under FOIA, so that our body can meet to discuss how we want to proceed, can meet to interview candidates and whatnot, while protecting who they are and who's coming in and talking to us. So that's sort of the purpose.
Though I will say it's probably the worst kept when you get up. Everybody knows, everybody who's,
Do what we can.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is important. I mean, I don't think, let's say somebody's, it's just good practice across the board. Somebody comes from another organization, they've applied with us, it shouldn't necessarily be public record for, their supervisors to see that they've applied to go elsewhere. I think that their privacy as an employee, I don't think that that's something that should be discoverable to the public, especially our feedback on that candidate, why we chose them or didn't choose them. I think everybody should have some entitlement to privacy in their job search.
And then obviously, after we all meet and interview these folks and deliberate and decide who we want to hire, that will be done at a public meeting,
Sure.
the actual hiring.
yes. And the hope is that, my hope is that we come out with a unanimous decision and full support, whoever the first chief is for the town of Southbury. Okay, so that's the resolution made and seconded. We discussed it. I guess I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It carries unanimously. Next up is the job description. I would say, I think we could, is there any issue with the job description as written? I'll open it up for discussion without calling for a motion. Or if somebody wants to make a motion and is comfortable, I'm okay with that.
Are these during the budget process, we talked about a bit of a restructuring of Public Works and moving things around. Is that what this is coming from?
That's what these are, yes.
Okay, so that's what the new positions we
Oh,
talked about.
put your, sorry.
Sorry. So that's the new positions we talked about during the budget process and sort of moving around tasks and
Yes.
things like that?
I'm not gonna call for anybody because I think everybody's thinking. I want to make sure everybody's comfortable with the job description. Let me also say this. If there is, I don't know if I dare say this, but I think if there is a substantial issue that any of the selectmen see before we do the actual hire, we can modify the description. I mean, we're not, we change job descriptions mostly when the position is not filled, or creating new ones. This is obviously, this is the job description for the, oh, that's the second.
This is the third job description that.
Okay, there's three. I think we were mostly concerned with the police the chief description, right?
The chief's description's not in here, we have a facilities,
Oh, I saw the chiefs up there, and I'm like,
This is the
Okay.
Public Works, the maintenance inside properties.
okay,
And
okay, and that's the rest of the, okay. Is there any questions on these? This is part of the budget process, yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. I mean, are these newly formed positions, or are these people that have already been doing these job functions and just retitling it?
The custodian side is a new position, but that was discussed about the elimination of, Dan, will you explain that?
Yeah, the custodian and technician are new positions. The maintenance supervisor, if there's someone in the role, we're just adjusting the position because we're hiring now employees to work for that person. So what we're doing, Tim, is we have a maintenance contract with an outside consultant that does the facilities. We're gonna reduce that contract and offset it with hiring people in town to be here to do work. And this was predicated on the fact that we have about a $700,000 infrastructure budget that we wanna make sure that the projects get started and completed. So that's why when we started looking at the budget this year, we looked at what would be the best way to kind of get started on those projects, and rather than outsourcing it, we thought it would be better to have an internal team here to do them.
So these positions are budgeted also. So it's just the job descriptions for them.
And this was zero impact on the town property's inside budget, based upon the reduction of the outside consultant that we're using.
So essentially, it was all, the position and the expense was approved in the budget process. This is just the description for that job.
One of the reasons why we put it now is because we want to go out and have people on the ground by July 15th. If we wait until July 1st, we'd be looking at August 15th. And if we do not renew the contract for the inside maintenance consultant, we need people on the ground to start doing the work.
So I think I can motion to approve. Did we have that, or did we?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It carries unanimously. Did we have anything else added? We good now? Everybody good?
We could think of a couple more things.
Hey, think of a few things we could do. All right. Okay, first Selectmen's report. I'll bring up yesterday, Southbury police officers and I joined thousands of mourners in Hartford to pay our respects to the state police trooper first class, Aaron Pelletier. Trooper Pelletier was killed in the line of duty in a hit and run on I-84 in Southington. I just want to make a note that this is the third funeral I've gone to in 9 years that I have been to for fallen law enforcement officers. It has been my honor to be asked by our officers to attend with them and support them during their grief. Police chief's initial interviews were held last week for the police chief position. The caliber of 10 applicants interviewed was outstanding, making the decision to narrow down the applicant pool very difficult. 3 applicants will be moved forward to be interviewed by the newly formed Police Chief Search Committee comprised of the Board of Selectmen. River Road update, progress on River Road continues. Our Public Works team is doing an excellent job managing the project to stay on schedule, as well as finding cost savings along the way. Tree removal, milling work, and early core tests have been completed. Cardinal Engineering is on site daily for the monitoring of day-to-day activities. Southbury officials and department heads were very excited to meet on site for their first pre-construction planning meeting with Norco Construction and Silver Petrocelli last week. Topics of discussion included timelines, location of staging areas, securing subcontractors, obtaining materials and equipment, and other preparations that Norco and the town can begin making prior to the start of the actual construction. Careful planning and special consideration were considered, so there should be no interference with the enjoyment of Ballantine Pool and Ballantine Park and the pool this summer. Construction of the new pool is scheduled to begin once the existing pool closes in September. On May 23rd, Chuck Liddy of Sustainable Southbury and I, along with Bonnie Rado, my assistant, attended a series of workshops in support of efforts to confront climate change and how municipalities can begin the shift to creating greener solutions. It was pretty interesting. Southbury Summer Camp begins June 17th. I am pleased to report that the summer camp has sold out and exceeded pre-COVID attendance. Southbury Parks and Recreation leadership and camp staff attended Camp College at Southern Connecticut State University on Saturday, June 1st. Camp College is a day-long training for camp counselors and camp directors organized by the Connecticut Recreation and Parks Association Incorporated, also known as CRPA. Southbury Parks and Recreation Assistant Director Lexi Pulaski and co-chair of CRPA's Camp Section Committee and played an integral part of planning this annual statewide event. On the Southbury ambulance, the State of Connecticut Office of Emergency Medical Services has assigned the Southbury Ambulance Association as the primary service area responder for the town of Southbury. That includes all of Southbury and Heritage Village. On May 22nd, I had the pleasure of meeting with two fourth-grade Pomperaug Elementary School social studies classes in my office. This educational field trip was a culmination of their studies in economic choices. The students spent about an hour with me learning about what goods and services the government provides, how government pays for the goods and services, and how taxes help people in our local community. Their visit concluded with a tour of town offices and an explanation of how these departments play a role in our government. I really enjoyed sharing my knowledge, experience, and a little Southbury history with the students. It was interesting how even our youngest citizens have such well-formed questions to ask their elected officials. Thanks to Dr. Ern Burden for including Southbury's municipal government in this very positive educational experience. A cute little thing about that is that they asked if they could speak at public comment, and I said, yes, you can. You are welcome to public comment. If you'd like to come and get someone to bring you down, we welcome your comment here. We love to hear. So it's just interesting. They're pretty engaged. Some of Southbury's upcoming event. June 1st was the start of dog licensing month in town clerk's office. I want to put it out there again. The licensing is to make sure that there's rabies shots, the booster shots, also so that we've seen a number of dogs that we have found or that have been lost, and we don't know who they belong to, and we don't know how to get back to their families, their pet. So if we could encourage everybody to please come in and license your dog. It's not a lot of money. It's a good thing to do. On June 8th, our 3 historic buildings will be open to the public: Old Town Hall, the South Britain Library, and Bullet Hill School. I would encourage our citizens to come out and see these buildings because this was the original Southbury, where it all started over there in South Britain, Jason, over on that side of the town. That's just so you know. But it's pretty interesting to see and see whose names are on the back of the library cards. It's kind of cute. You might see mine on the back, too. Southbury Farmers Market opens on June 13th, and our summer concert series kicks off on June 19th. Reports from liaisons. Next, Justin.
Thank you. Economic Development did meet. I was not able to attend, but I do have some updates here. I don't think it's a secret anymore because the sign is up, but Michael's Jewelers is moving into the old Gail O'Neill space, so it's nice to welcome back a company that was in our town for a long, long time. Chatfields just became the first commercial building in town to put solar on their roof. There's been a ribbon cutting this week for Whiskers 2. Cat rescue place is so popular that it is expanding. If folks are around a week from Friday, or excuse me, this Friday, no, a week from Friday, our friend Jack Zazzaro, the dentist, will be celebrating his 20th year here in town with a ribbon cutting at his location on Main Street. We have a new business coming in on Heritage Road, the Speech Pathology Group and Rehab Service. And they're having a ribbon cutting on Friday, June 21st at 10 a.m. And it's been a topic of much discussion online over the last couple days, but Kevin wants everybody to know that he is in discussion with the owner of Lucas Local, trying to help him find a new location in town. And he's also working to find replacements for the 3 empty spaces that are currently open in the Southbury Green. The Investment Portfolio Oversight Committee also met, the exact same time as Economic Development. The funds are all doing very well. Every quarter, we do something a little different, and this quarter is when we review the investment policy statements, which basically guide how the money is invested in each of those 3 pots of money, if you will. Pool Oversight met this morning and just went over the kickoff meeting that we had about 3 weeks ago. With the winning bidder, Public Works. Jeff was there, I was there, Dan was there. And I think everybody's pretty excited about getting this going. And as folks have probably heard, once this season closes, end of August, early September, they will begin work. And with any luck, we will have a new pool to open up in late spring, early summer of '25. That's it for now.
Yeah, I just want to say that, we're trying to get this moved along, and one of the things we are doing is trying to, supply chain is always the issue, getting projects done. So we're going to stage it so that they can get whatever supplies they need, pumps, motors, heaters, whatever they do, they can get, and we will, if it's here and they paid for them, we'll keep them going, we'll pay them, and we'll get them, so they're, hopefully make sure there's no issue with getting that project done as soon as we can. So, and if the weather holds good in the fall, we'll be off to the races. Jason?
So LEPC met, a couple things. Emergency Management Director stated that the state accepted our emergency operations plan, so that's good. There's a statewide emergency preparedness initiative occurring next week that the town's going to participate in. And they're looking at some potential upgrades to this room to make for a smoother EOC if and when the situation arose that we needed one. And tonight we appointed our new fire marshal to the committee, who will be part of our next meeting. EMS did not meet, but I will say they still are looking for members. I know notice went out. There was a couple of people that responded with some interest. Members are looking at those applications and resumes, and if anyone else is interested or knows people are interested, there are a few vacancies at the moment. Library also met. I was there for part of the meeting before I had to get to another town meeting. The Friends reported that their book sale was a major success again. They did better than last year. They approved some scholarships for high school students. And the Children's Department discussed how they're going to purchase some new story walks for outside for this year, which is a popular activity that they take part in. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Greg?
Thank you. So, I wasn't able to attend the last meetings. I was just wanted to think about how I wanted to say that. I was recovering from surgery, so thank you for everybody for your kind words and understanding as I went through that. I did have a chance to touch base with Chuck on the Energy Task Force and follow up on minutes. There was something notable to share as the Energy Task Force is just moving forward, trying to put together the solar project. One of the major components of this project plan was participating or being awarded an incentive through Eversource called the Non-Residential Renewable Energy Solutions Incentive Program. Give you the short on that is that by it's a lottery program. We didn't end up getting it, but if you did, you end up with probably the most desirable rates. The way that the program, it can work a couple different ways, but just to simplify, Basically, you're buying electricity from Eversource, you're selling electricity to Eversource. That rate that you sell it to them, you sort of win through this program at a very desirable rate. So, so unfortunate, we sort of suspected that there would be a tremendous interest in the program, and there was, and so there's only so much money to go around, and unfortunately, we didn't win that lottery. So, so a little bit, I think the Energy Task Force, Chuck had said he'd like to go back to the drawing board. He actually did end up having a really nice conversation with Blake, our Public Works Director, on kind of rethinking the project possibly, with leaving open the opportunity to resubmit the project as we did this round in August, when the next round for this happens again. So
Great.
we'll see what
Quick
happens
question
as
on
they go through.
Was Eversource's decision, was it like merit-based, or was it a lottery in that it was somewhat random, or was it based on the plan presented?
So it's broken down into small and large projects, and ours was under the small category, and under the small category, it's random.
Understood, thank you.
Thanks. So that's that. Yeah, so we'll see, we'll hear more from Energy Task Force. Senior Services Commission met, and attendance levels there, I was really just reviewing the minutes. I mean, it reflects very positively, you know, on the senior center and the staff, and to me, that's just a great job. So it's fun to continue to cheer for them. The commission itself continues to explore new and meaningful ways to serve our senior community. I think they're doing a good job that way. I saw ideas coming in from the public, which for me anyway, feels a little new, and I think it's another affirmation that everyone involved in, you know, everyone involved, the entire senior center staff, the commission, we're really creating an environment where people feel comfortable with engaging with our volunteers and leaders. To me, again, it's all great stuff. Notable, the commission did vote to cancel the July-August meetings, so they will return in September in the fall, and we'll go from there.
I will say, Greg, I mean, they're doing a great job over there, and even that technically men's breakfast with chasing cars guy is.
Saw that, that was great.
That was pretty, I even took I went to say, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
That
And
was nice.
he's a wonderful person. And what he asked for is, he has an autistic daughter, and he asked that a donation be made to a charity, his charity for autism, whatever it is. So, yeah, but yeah, the seniors are, they're there.
Doing well.
Yeah, we may need a bigger parking lot.
That is
We
all
get-
I have. Thank you.
Tim?
Yes, Community Relations Task Force, the roundtable meeting took place on May 22nd. They had a video presentation from Harold Bailey, who's the chairman of TEAM Westport, which stands for Together Effectively Achieving Multiculturalism. He will be the keynote speaker at the next roundtable quarterly meeting in September. There were also 4 Pampero High School students, Gabby Lenardi, Stevie Bennett, Grace and Catherine Mambo, that spoke positively, how they spoke about the positive impact the school's Embracing Diversity program has had on all students involved. June is Gay Pride Month. I want to recognize and celebrate their liberation, the LGBTQ&I community. And also, this month, we need to recognize June 19th, which is to commemorate the end of slavery. The Conservation Commission also met on May 23rd. A number of things going on. There were a few signs put up at Bennett Park for a no mow zone in the back field. Janie Pierce's Park was treated with chemicals for curly leaf pondweed and fanwort on May 13th. McMillan Park, the bridge replacement was discussed, and they're moving forward with the necessary departments to get that replaced. Platt Park, I guess there's some pruning that needs to be done there, and they're talking to Public Works on that. Let's see, the Park and Rec Department also met. I guess there's a new hire for the Park and Rec Director who started on May 20th. Her name is Megan Lennon. New pickleball signs went up at Ballantyne Park. The aquatics and the pool memberships program is now open. Art in the Park was a success on May 11th. Memorial Day Parade went on May 27th. Unfortunately, the picnic at Ballantyne was canceled. And then there was some discussion on items from Blake Leonard's list for park improvement projects. Hopefully some of those are going to be taking place. And also, I guess they have league contracts that are being drafted to define the roles and responsibilities in each park, as well as to ensure consistency between group leadership there. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Holly?
So a very exciting time of year for Region 15. For anybody that doesn't know, school finally concludes on Wednesday of next week is the last day of school for students at Region 15. The board did have a meeting on May 28th was their last full board meeting. It's amazing when you log in and you get to watch the student recognitions, which tend to happen at the beginning of the meeting. There were 7 awards that were recognized of just excellence of students throughout the region, and it's just really fantastic to see the leadership awards, superintendent's awards, music awards, art awards. So just really nice things to kind of culminate the end of the school year and all of the accomplishments of the students. One of the big conversations that's happening, there is a Gainfield Elementary School and Pomprog Elementary School facility study committee, and they're looking at what is the future of these schools and what, long-term use of the buildings, and kind of what the direction of that will be. So I encourage anybody who's interested to follow along with the Board of Ed and where that goes. Aside from that, there's, as always, policy updates, curriculum updates, things of that nature, and the next meeting will be on June 10th. I anticipate that may likely be the last Board of Ed meeting before they break for the summer, but yet to be confirmed because Marion sets the next meeting at the end of every meeting. But I do anticipate, based on past history, that the next one may be the last one,
So there will, on that committee, John Michaels from the Board of Finance has offered to be on it, which is, I think, we need a member of the Board of Finance. I will be on from the Board of Selectmen to look at their ideas and the plans. They've invited us. I also think Middlebury, Ed St. John is on there, and they're one of their board of members, finance, on this committee to decide. Essentially, what they're looking to do is whether, I think, my understanding is, whether they should repair the existing school's cost and what it will take, and what, it's not just the cost of repairs, but the cost to run afterwards and project that out, but also the possibility of combining the two together, and is it, over the long term, I would assume, cost savings by going to one building instead of two.
Yeah, and that's a big discussion, but, it's kind of unusual to have 2 elementary schools that are so close to one another, and I think there's some just unanswered questions, just so nobody out in the public thinks this is a done deal. It's just exploring, kind of what the potential is to go either way, but there is a lot of overlap of roles. So you've got, would it be better services to the students that they weren't divided and you had, more team engagement if they were all together. But again, lots of conversation to have about that. Like, to your point that you made earlier, in this meeting is that nothing moves very quickly. And that's not always a bad thing, because you want to have the time and thought to really put into these decisions and make sure that you're making good long-term decisions for our students.
Yeah. So in Gainfield is the first consolidated school in Southbury. My mother went to school there, so that's pretty old. And we do need to recognize that buildings do age out or need major repairs or whatever it may be. So I think they're hitting that where they have to make a decision on large investments. And do you do that large investment, or do you go for the long haul? And there's also everything coming through today between air quality. There's a lot of things to consider and what's coming down the road. So we'll see what happens.
See what happens.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye?
Aye.
And we are adjourned. Thank you.